Hi, welcome back to One-Handed RC. My name is Doug. On the Tamiya Scania 770S combination truck, I'm gonna go over the box build that I did today, even though you just see a skeleton. I didn't complete the entire box. The reason being is I am going to be taking this over to my buddy Greg's house, 727 RC, and he's going to be designing the side cabinets and this fill in this area here, and then the rear part along with the taillight assembly. And he's going to be doing some lights across the top. He doesn't know about the lights yet, so sorry Greg, spring that on you, but it actually should be all simple because everything here is basically square boxes. So it should be straightforward, I hope. Anyways, I did end up moving the rear axles forward a little less than an inch, about 3/4 of an inch, somewhere in that neighborhood. I just was not happy with where it was at. I set it on the table and I would walk by it and I would look at it and I'm like, it's just not right. So I ended up moving everything. It was actually really not that hard. You'll see in the video how I did it. Pretty straightforward. And I moved it forward and I'm very happy with the look now. It's how I want it to sit. So, and it's sitting a little bit high right now, and even though in the video it may look like it's low, it's actually not. It's sitting a little bit high just because it doesn't have everything in it, so it will compress a little bit. So while this is off over at Greg's house getting that stuff designed, I'm going to take the cab and start painting on that and start doing the interior and all that fun stuff. So I have got a lot ahead of me. Just the grill alone is 13 pieces. So somewhere in the neighborhood of probably be about 45 to 50 pieces total that I've got to paint just on the cab, let alone the box and the side cabinets and all that stuff, and then the trailer still to do. So a lot of fun. So enjoy the video today. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and enjoy it. Have a good one. Okay, so before I start building the box, I need to actually I need to collapse this rear suspension. So what I'm probably going to end up doing, and the reason why I need to do this first is because where I want the box sitting, I need to have enough room for the fenders, and then I want the right like clearance, if you will, or what have you, because I want this truck sitting really low to the ground, but I want to make sure that, you know, while this is basically going to be collapsed onto the axle bump stops, what do you call it? And that way I can have just, you know, a millimeter or two clearance in between that and the inside of the fender. And then the fender I can basically have all the way up to the bottom of the box. That way I can have it sitting really low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first remove the springs, basically take it apart again. And there's 3 springs in there, and I'm basically going to cut 2 of them out and just leave the long one. So the suspension will be basically really weak and soft. So I'm going to do that first, and that way I can start getting on the box. So here we go. Okay, I got the leaf spring off. So what I'm going to have to do is the rivet that's in there, I've got to drill that out. Actually, I don't think I'm going to drill it out because there's no real spot for the drill bit to kind of stay in there. I mean, I guess I could do a little punch, but I think I'm just going to take the Dremel tool with the sanding drum and just grind that bottom part off to separate it. I'm not sure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other 2 leaves that are on here and flip them to the bottom so they're not being used, but they will fill in the gap in the spring perch. So that way I can get the truck lower. So I got one of them done. You can see how this is the one that I did. I just ground out the the rivet that was in there and just popped it out. And then I switched them over because you can see this is how they come correctly. That's how they are supposed to be. But I wanted a weaker spring system so that they would sit lower. So that's what I had to do. So I'm going to get the other one done and then put it back together and then get started on the box. All right, here we go. We got the suspension back together. The leaves have been reversed. There is still some suspension, but it's very soft. Just by the weight of the box and all the equipment once it gets on here, this thing's pretty much going to ride on the bump stops, which I'm okay with. This thing's only going to see really nice pavement and stuff like that. So I am going to put the cab on it. That way I can judge where the box goes, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so the cab's on the truck. I've got the little winglets. I'm not using the winglets that come with the, I don't know if they're actually called winglets. These little things right here on the side, they glue on. In the kit, normally they're quite a bit longer, and then they screw on from the back. But these ones are the short ones that come off the 8x4 kit Scania kit because I wanted those a lot closer. And then this roof spoiler is actually, I could not find one anywhere for 3D printing for a style. And so I got a buddy of mine that's into 3D printing and does some design work, and he designed this for me. This is purely a prototype. This is not the finished. It is the angles that I wanted and everything. So that way when I put the box, I can have it to where the box is going to come up to here and work off. And that's why I wanted to lower it as much as I could, because I needed to see where the fenders would lie versus the box. And then that way I know how to make how tall the extensions, because I'm not using the regular box, because the regular box will only come up to about right here. And I need to add another couple inches to it to make it taller. So that's what I'm going to get on right now. Okay, so this is the box I'm using as a donor. It is from Hercules Hobbies. This is just the box itself, just the reefer. I did yesterday. This is the plate off the bottom. I went over to a buddy's house and we cut off what I needed. So I'm going to have to modify a little bit to see. It's kind of tough to get in everything in here because I'm using my non-hand to work the camera, and it's kind of difficult. But you can see that this is a lot shorter now. So I am going to start building this and building it up and then trying to make a box out of it and see where we go from here. Okay, I've got the, there we go. I got the holes drilled and I got to peel the rest of the tape off. And and the frame rails are drilled also. And then I am going to use these standoffs to try to find the right height to set it to. And then here's another little trick. A new friend on Facebook, one of the truck guys, was using 3-inch sewer drain PVC to make the fenders when you're running the 78 millimeter tires. And I think it's a brilliant idea. So I went and picked up a couple and just testing because I need clearance and that stuff, and just wanted to see. So I am going to screw this deck down on here and see what kind of clearances we have. I'm going to be using a 8 millimeter, standoffs, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Okay, I kind of got ahead of myself, forgot to film. I cut all these rails and everything. I use the original rails, and I'm not worried about all the holes in them because I am actually gluing styrene to the outside of them to make flat panels, so you won't even see them. So right now I'm just using a little punch and then Dremel tool and just drilling and having fun and making rails. So hopefully next time you see this, we'll get closer. Well, we got a little guest here today. This is Bessie. What are you doing, Bess? She's my little girl. She's about a year and a half old, a little small, but she's a sweet girl. This is the truck so far. Coming along. The box, it's coming along nicely. Got it all squared up, mounted down. Kind of tough to see with all this here. And a cat. Come here, sweetie. And I'm just going to run the card stock over in the corners, and I'll fill it in behind and reinforce. And then square it up, because this is going to be a perfectly square box. Dang it, I should have been recording this. I am making fenders. These started out as a 3-inch. Actually, that one's cut in half. That one went bad. But it's a 3-inch pipe coupler that I fitted, and I got these two done. They need to be cleaned up, but so I got 2 fenders done. I need to make 2 more. So I am really happy with how I think this is going to come out, and these fenders are going to cost me all of, $7? So I can't complain at all. All right. There we got 4 fenders. Took me all of just a couple minutes to make. I do need to clean them up. Not a big deal, but I think they're going to work out fantastic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole, like 2 holes in the center at the top. And what I'm going to do is mount them to the underside of the box with some standoffs, so they look like they're floating, or looking like they're mounted properly, or however you want to say it. I don't know. But anyways, that's fenders. So they still need to be cleaned up, but this is rough. But you get the idea. So looking at this thing, I've been staring at it last night and kind of looking at where the rear axles are placed, and I'm just not feeling it. I haven't mounted the fenders yet. They're just sitting on there. So what I think I'm going to do is I am actually going to pull it apart and move the axles forward, probably a ½ inch to an inch, and that should give me the look that I want. So this is the fun stuff when it comes to custom builds, is something doesn't look right, you got to change it, but it's better to change it now and do it. She's looking pretty good. I'm really stoked. So let's get on moving those axles. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do, I mean, you're going to see a lot of these other holes, because originally when I was going to do this, I was going to put on Tamiya fenders. But I decided not to do that. So these holes here that you see are no longer needed. So really, to move this forward, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to move it forward one of these spaces. So what is that, about an inch, I'm thinking? So what I'm just going to do is pull this screw out, these screws, and then move it, and I'll just have to re-drill another hole up here for this one, but I'm just going to move it basically one step, and that is something that I can reverse if I don't like it. But the thing is that I've got enough room in the drive shaft to be able to move it up that distance, so I don't have to move the motor or transmission. But if I do like the look, I'm going to have to end up moving the steering servo, and then also I'm going to move that back even further for the trailer. So I'm going to get on this, but it actually shouldn't be too difficult. Hopefully it goes smoothly. So let me get on it and let's see how it goes. Okay, so by moving the rear axles forward about an inch just changed everything. It gave me the look I wanted. So now I just got to move the steering servo for the rear axle, and then also the hitch. I get to move that stuff underneath there, so that's going to be fun. Okay, mounting fenders time. So what I'm doing is I've got it marked center point all the way up, and same on that side. And I'm just taking a square and running it over, and I just made sure that it gets to matches even with that spot, which it does. So I am going to mark that line. Same with this side over here. And dang, I can't figure out this gimbal thing. And I will mark those and then start drilling and get those fenders mounted. So let me get to it. I don't know if you can see this on video, but I've got all parts spots marked. I don't know if you can see the little scratch marks. So I've got to drill some 3mm holes and then do the same over here on the fenders. I'm going to mark them and go from there. So let's get this. Okay, so I drilled the fenders, and here are the nuts that you can see that I have for the standoffs underneath here that I'm using for the fender mounts. And then the fenders, I drilled holes, and yes, they're rough right now. I got to clean them up and everything, but you know, just for mounting and stuff like that. And okay, got these screwed in. I just used some screws I had lying around, still waiting for that Amazon order. But that'll, you know, when I drop it onto the truck, we're gonna find out real quick if it's gonna work or not. So let's hope. Shoot, yeah, fits perfect. When you have a little bit of weight on it, like when it's going to be fully collapsed, they are dead center. And it's the same on the other side. I am super stoked about that. So I got fenders now. And so it's coming together. Okay, ran into a little snag here. Not a big deal. But as the rear tires turn, they hit the fenders. And so it looks like what I'm going to have to do is do some trimming, like from here. Let me get a screwdriver. I'm going to do some trimming like here and then back over, and the same on both sides. So the rear, all four. So I've got to do a little bit of cutting, but I think that would give me enough. And then I'm going to have a piece that's going to block this over here, so you really won't see that. So I should be good. And okay, so after, I don't know, about 5 or 6 trimmings, I finally got it trimmed enough to where the steering works with no problems. And you can see I did have to do some trimming in there. Yeah, I don't think you're going to really see it once the boxes are on the sides and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully I think we're, yeah, I think we're done. I think, maybe, possibly. Let's see. I noticed that on my last videos that I don't finish them. I just stop them. So I'm going to try to do a conclusion, a caboose, however you want to say it. This is it. The video's over. See you later. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. Have a good one. Take care of yourselves. Bye.